Welcome to Rangers Radio on the Matchday show, the world's one and only unique live phone-in show for Rangers supporters all over the world. Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
Hello, good evening and welcome back to Rangers Radio. Joining myself, Oxford, back in the show after a strange game in Porto. As your Robert started well, a mental 14 minutes, mate. Pretty much controlled the second half without making their goalie work much. Some good, some bad, some indifferent, mate.
Yeah, that sums it up perfectly, I think, mate. Great start to the game, to be honest, to get the early goal. But as you said, a 14-15 minute period where Porto dominated and we paid the price, unfortunately. I did say in the pre-match show that they've got quality on their side and they showed it. They took their chances when it came. Few fortunate goals as well, lad, but aye, wee bit of everything tonight.
Yeah, so we gets the goal early. Young Curtis gets the. I can't remember who came and won the ball. Might have been Aaron's. I can't remember who came and won it. Tavernier played it up to Curtis. Let's be honest, mate. We're always honest on here. It hit his hands. It bounced up and hit his hand. Nothing deliberate in it. But he puts a cross in. We say he makes things happen. And Gassama, I think he comes in with his eyes shut, puts it in the net, and you're like, wow.
Aye, it was a great start. Good press, as you said, from Tavernier to win the ball back. And Curtis, it does hit his arm, or his hand, which you would probably expect in a normal league business. Let's be fair, Ox, that would probably be going against you. But he digs out a good cross, and it was a bit of a weird goal because it looked quite simple for either the keeper or the defender to get. But on highlight, there seems to be a miscommunication and neither get it, and it finds its way through. So a good start.
Aye, and we were doing okay, mate. I wasn't just passing about and making things happen. I thought Diamandi was doing okay. I thought at times Shamiti caused them, he rumbled them up a wee bit without being effective. One thing about Shamiti, mate, if I was talking to him, I say, you do great things, mate, then you've got to get in the box, yeah? He wins it, harries it, plays it well, puts it out, and then he's got to get into the centre forward position, mate. He's got to add that to his game. And I watched him again tonight. Sometimes he's in the wrong place to score goals with set pieces. Just my take on it, mate. But I thought he done all right with the piece, mate. And quite a difficult role. So we're doing all right. We've not got a lot of danger, but they started picking up a head of steam. And we started getting the ball away occasionally. By the way, if you take Gassama, you take the goal, I don't think he had a good game neither. So they come down to our left-hand side. The sort of boycotts in decent play by them. They've got some pace up front. They get the break of the ball when it comes to Magoma. I actually thought that my initial, I'd need to see it back, but my initial thoughts were this might get chopped half. It came after boys' horn, but we won one, we lost one. So these are the breaks, mate. They get the goal, and they hadn't done a lot up to them, mate.
No, they hadn't. That was their first real opportunity to capitalise on anything. And you said a couple of slack passes crept into our game that they picked up on. They were imposing themselves in our half, pushing us back further. And they do get the break of the ball. I think Magoma's obviously trying to take it away from the boy's foot. It just ends up that the boy takes it with his thigh. They did mention possible handball. It wasn't like a VAR check, but on commentary they said possibly hit his hand. But the camera angle they showed, it was hard to tell. It was only the one angle they showed. But again, as you say, we got one, we lost one. Call it a draw there with handballs. But it takes it away and tucks it nicely. But that kind of set the tone for Porto just to impose themselves further from there on in.
They sort of gave them a lift, mate, if you're honest.
Aye, it did. I think it took them a while to settle, to judge out our formation, our shape, how we were going to line up, how we were going to attack the game. I think it took them a while. But once they got it, they started to impose their game plan on top of us.
Aye, so then I suppose this is going to be the big talking point, mate. You know, the two most experienced players on the park. Right, run me through it, mate.
Well, initially when I watched it, I couldn't really believe it, to be honest with you. But on the highlights, when they were showing the goal back, if you get a chance to watch it, mate, just look how Tav's position is compared to the rest of the back line. Now, I'm not jumping on the attack Tav train here, but he's the furthest player back. And when the ball comes in, I know people say Butland should deal with it, but when the initial ball comes in, Tavernier doesn't judge it right. He doesn't handle the situation well. He's under pressure. Then there's a coming together between him and Butland. At that point, you say Butland should wipe out everybody, including Tavernier, to retain the ball. Whether he gets it in both hands and it's knocked out his hand, I couldn't really tell. But ultimately, it ends up at the guy's feet and he taps it in, mate. But an avoidable goal, in my opinion, if it was dealt with. But I think, again, it highlights at this moment in time Tav's kind of vulnerabilities that he's got. I know he's been a great servant, and I'm not jumping on the attack Tav train, but it could have been dealt with better, mate.
Yeah, he set up positions wrong, and then when the ball comes in, mate, for me, he's just got to do it for a corner, mate. Yeah, take your medicine, see what happens. And that's what the point you make about he's playing the ball onside because his position's all right. Then, because he doesn't play the ball out for a corner, mate, he then tries to play too much football. And he's running in the goalie, and he's making it difficult for himself and the goalkeeper. Then it turns into a car. Then it's Butland's ball. He gets his two hands on it and just, I don't know what he does, mate. I don't think it gets knocked out when I saw it. Again, we need to see it back to look at it. He just seems to just be too, no demanding, no domineering enough, mate. And the ball comes off and ends up in the net, mate. A travesty of a goal, a silly goal. And we're two most experienced players on the pitch by a distance, mate. Yeah.
Aye, without a doubt, mate. Without a doubt. In terms of age, anyway, absolutely. But Tav is the most experienced player on that side with his appearances in Europe. Obviously, tonight was about 109 European appearances for Rangers. Some achievement, but as your captain, your guy with that experience, you'd expect him, as you say, just header it out for a corner. You're not getting a goal at that point. You're just getting a corner. You can get set up. You can deal with it. But we've seen how threatening as well Porto can be from corners as well.
And I think that second, well, the two goals, mate, it just gave them a lift and a bit of confidence, yeah. You know, and then 5 minutes later, he gets a corner. I'm trying to remember, was that like, really? Anyway, they puts it into the front post, mate. And initially I thought the boy had played it, but when you see the replay, Big Manny's been caught, and he's thinking his height and power is going to give out of danger. He gets caught on the wrong side, catches it wrong, and it ends up in the back of the net, mate. Look, he made an error, right? We'll put that down to experience for him, but yeah, it can happen. It wasn't a great defending. I think his feet are all wrong. So he's then for a standing start, mate, and then he can't make it. Yeah. So hopefully he'll learn for that, just to take a pace and then read the flight of the ball so you're getting the right side of it. But you're also playing against players who are blocking you and using physicality and being cute because you're playing against top players, mate, and that's what happens.
Aye, it does. I still think he's unlucky though, because I know positionally, maybe not reading the flight at the right time and things, but I think it's unlucky still to end up in the back of the net because it does hit his head. But again, I'm going to put it down as an unlucky goal because it could have went anywhere once it hits him. Defensively from set pieces, we did look a bit vulnerable, which is surprising considering we've done okay in that department of recent weeks and months. But certainly tonight, when you've got a team like Porto who they did have some physicality on their side, they were causing a few problems. But from our side, you'd expect Fernandes to kind of be commanding and dealing with it, considering how well he's been playing. But I'm just going to put that one down to an unlucky, unfortunate on goal, mate.
You're kinder than me, mate. You're kinder than me. Look, they hadn't really cut us open as much as you maybe anticipated because we know we're playing against a decent side with top players. But you're saying, oh God, here we go. I feared the worst. I feared the worst. at half time. And what I've got to credit the team is for their second half performance without being outstanding, mate. We're fitting the ball, played some really nice stuff up to the final third, and then my decision making was terrible. And there was a classic right at the end, and I think you've seen them going to the monitor, and it looked to me as if, and I'm not going to go at Mikey Moore because he'd just come on as substitute. He got the ball in the middle of the park, if you like, the number 10 role. We've opened them up. There's only a few minutes to go, and the right decision is to roll it to Ant-Man, and he gets caught in the ball, and the attack's moved, and that happened so often. We got things wrong. And by the way, I'll say another thing, mate. I would have took Max Aarons off as soon as he get booked, mate. I don't want to see a Rangers player do that.
No, I'm the same, Ox. I didn't like it. You saw what he was trying to do, trying to con the referee. There's no simple way of saying anything different. He's tried to con the referee, and the referee's right to book him for simulation. And it's not the first time we've had a player in recent weeks be booked for simulation, but I don't like it myself personally. I get the whole point of if you feel contact, go down, but there was no contact before he's even on the way down. So I'll be honest, I was surprised that the substitution at half time that young Magoma went off. I guess there's rationale in it in terms of minutes and games, and Romans isn't fully fit yet, as far as we're led to believe yet, until maybe another week or two. But I was kind of surprised that it was Magoma that came off. I thought he done okay defensively. Aaron's, it doesn't do an awful lot. He got further forward in the second half, Ox, I thought, than he did in the
Great
first half.
positions, mate. Great positions. Ran
Um,
offside once when you could see one ran offside, which was a mental decision because you
Mhm.
can see across the park. And he got positions, put it on his right foot, and I think there was one. I don't know who was trying to play it, mate. Who he was trying to play, you know, and that summed up the night, mate. Yeah. Well, that wasn't just him, Max Aarons. To be fair, there was most of our front line at times we got the decision making wrong because we played some decent stuff up to them, mate, and pretty much controlled most of the second half.
Aye, we did, but I suppose you could also say that kind of Porto took the foot off the gas a wee bit. They could have really came and went through the jugular, but we did control that second half. How much but that was on our formation change or approach to the second half, and how much Porto kind of changed their dynamics, because the game was, in their eyes, was finished at that point. Had it went 3-2, you'd have probably seen a different approach from Porto, but ultimately, as you say, we played some nice passes at times, but final third, as we've said in recent weeks, decision making is which cost us at times to not capitalise on chances and create more. But listen, before the game, we did say it was going to be a tough ask, a good challenge for the team. A lot of mistakes, a lot of unfortunate moments. I don't think they would be too downpleased overall that the European campaigns came to an end the way it has. The focus now firmly shifts to the league and the Scottish Cup.
Aye, there'll be a lot of talk about James Tavernier, and I'm with you. Terrific servant and for the peace. But if you just talk about the night, it shows, mate, and I'll be kind. The sands of time wait for no man, mate. Yeah, and there's a time, and this is I see it in some of the forums. What about to have another year? I've got a lot of respect for James Tavernier. I think what he's done has been magnificent. The way he came to play the European final and what he's done for us at times gave us tremendous memories. And I don't want to come out punch drunk, mate. I want him to go out with his head held high and hopefully as a winner.
Aye, I'm in the exact same boat as yourself, mate. Again, tremendous servant. The numbers he's got will never be matched, especially for a right back in Scottish football or any football level and league. Is a tremendous servant, but as you say, time waits for no man. The amount of games he's played over the seasons he's been with us, he is somebody that's always there for his work. He puts in the effort, he puts in the commitment. We know defensively he's never been the best defender we've ever had, but contribution to the club, he's done it. Unfortunately, he's not got the silverware to show how much contribution he's actually done. Personal accolades he's got, but he's never had the trophies to show for it, which is unfortunate because any other kind of time or era or period, the numbers he's got, you would expect him to have a lot more winners' medals. And I hope if we do win the league this season, they can go out in a high. I know there's talk about contracts. For me, I don't think so, mate. I think the time is up. there was a moment in the game. I know the young boy's got a lot of pace himself, but you've seen how Tav lacked the pace to get back, and it took Manny Fernandez to do an unbelievable tackle in the box to prevent another goal just briefly after they got the equaliser. And I think that showed up where Tav is really at the moment.
Aye. I still think he's a better player than Max Aarons, even though we think he's done, mate. There you go. But that's just me. Right, we better get the phone lines open, mate, yeah?
Aye, good to hear from the Bears if there's phoning in.
I'll better be texting me. Let's hear from you.
While you are sitting listening on your own, why not take part and give us a phone? We would love to hear your points of view, so get off your bum and call 0141 356 1972.
I thought Raskin worked hard without much coming after him. I thought his distribution at times was poor. I thought that maybe the picking of the players might have been Diamonde. Even then, there was still times when they got the decision wrong. We do a lot of good stuff, mate, and then just get it wrong, you know. And it's about getting the ball at the right place at the right time, and then making the right decision to make the chance, mate. And when we're not making that ball, making that right pass, we're failing to make the chance because we're not making a lot of chances. Yeah, even on Saturday, mate, we didn't make a lot of chances, but decision making in the final third's poor. And when we do get a chance, Majovsky all of a sudden doesn't want to shoot. Did you see that one?
I did, mate. I thought he actually worked it well to get the shot away. I thought he had enough space to at least have an effort. But again, he's passing it, laying it off to somebody else, and they've got to work it out the box. And at that point, Porto's back in, they're reset. And that's the lies of frustration as well. Miliovsky, Chermiti, whoever it is that's playing, we always say they've not done enough, they're not doing enough. But it always comes back to what's happened beforehand as well. But when in that position, get a shot away. If you get a corner, you're still in the attacking phase. If you get a second bite of the cherry, go for it. Just see how it works out. But there is moments where we don't make the final decision right. And we've worked it well up to that point, and then that's where the stumbling block comes. I think it goes hand in hand with a lot of people saying we still need a striker, because a striker who can get prolific goals in the game, but
You've
people
got to
who can
make
give them the
chances.
right service as well.
You've got
That's
to
what I'm
make
saying.
chances. Aye.
That's what I'm saying. You've still got to get the right service to the right player as well. They make the right runs, you can give them the service. If one's working and one's not, it's still not going to work out. You need to have both in alignment.
Aye, look, we can't solve every riddle in this transfer window, mate, you know. If you take my left side of the defence for the piece, I think the three players that played the other night were on loan. Kajiga, Agoma, and Aarons, mate. So we brought in Romance as one of our players. So that's it. And then Cornelius is loan with an option to buy who plays left. So we're short. Gone forward on that side. No, this now, but gone forward. We're short, you know. We've got Sterling coming back. Maybe Cornelius in a couple of weeks. Suter come back tonight. And then the three new signings start adding, mate. So that'll bolster us, and we need it, mate, yeah. Because we 10 minutes to go. Some of our regular players they'd run their race, mate.
Aye, they had, and they've played a lot of minutes themselves individually, and there's only a smaller selection of available players in the campaign. But thankfully, in a way, Europe's done with now. That's it. It's forgotten about. It was a campaign to forget from the get-go with what happened at the start. We had some good moments and some good bits of play against obviously Ludogorets getting the win, some decent bits tonight. But ultimately, it's over with. The firm focus now is on the league and the Scottish Cup. And as you say, players coming back, some additions hopefully still to come in the door. You can start to focus on that. I get your point about lacking and kind of shortened positions at the left side because the guys are on loan. But at the minute in time, I think the priority is further up the park. The defence will be I think will be addressed more so in the summer. I think right now.
Are you saying a striker?
Yes, and a
But
playmaker midfielder.
a playmaking midfielder. Don't then give me a name if it's that simple, mate.
It's not. It's why I'm not on a recruitment job, mate.
Aye.
It's not. That's the kind of profile I'd be looking for. I think at times you can see, but I'm missing somebody that can just get the ball from middle to front. Again, it comes back to the decision making, the final third, the chances creation. But you still need as I said, hand in hand, you need a prolific goal scorer who makes the right runs, is in the right areas, and can finish it 9 out of 10 times rather than 6 out of 10.
We didn't make any real chances tonight, yeah. There was one in the second half when the ball was put in at Shamiti, pulled it down and done really well, went out to the left-hand side. I think again he played the errands, and he stops, mate. He stops, and if anybody watches the game back, have a look at it. He's with his height and his power, he's got to get in the box, come late for a cross, mate, and supplement the front line. It's basic centre forward play. Your job's no finished when you've done that. And even if you don't get the chance, you might help put the defenders off or get a ricochet or the ball might 40. You've got to get in that box, mate, with that number 9 on. It's part of your job.
Aye, you've got to. And as you say, you might not get the chance yourself, but you can influence the game by attracting a defender away, which opens up space for somebody to be in, which is what I'm saying for a playmaker, midfielder, somebody can get forward, to get in the box, because we don't really have that. Somebody going in behind a striker at times when the ball does come in. So if a defender is pulled to a striker, there's nobody really there. I think a couple of times tonight you've seen it. The ball comes in, it's over Chimiti's head because he's went front post. There's nobody gambling in. There's nobody coming in at a second ball or anything like that until it goes out to the far side, and you're having to retreat it. So a lot of kind of improvement still needed from where we need to be. But as I said, we park it now, European competition, and we focus firmly on the league. We've got players, a bigger pool of players to select from. Still transfer windows open until Monday night. Players can come, players can go, and we'll see how Danny Rowe fits the jigsaw come the Sunday as well, and then going forward, mate. But aye, we need a wee bit of addition still in the final third.
My big positive tonight was I thought John Suter came on the second half, coming back from his small injury period, and done well, mate. And his distribution was pretty good, particularly that long pass out to the left, mate. You know, we set up a few attacks with that, and obviously we never got in there. And that was because, again, for decision making, and what we done was poor.
It's in his locker. You've seen him do it over the years he's been with us. He's got a good kind of ping and range of diagonal ball on him where he can pick out a winger. And that's when you're hoping that you can use it to your strength and exploit defences, get in behind, get the ball in quick and early. But again, as you say, it's decision making, chopping back, trying to take a man on rather than just putting it in early, hoping that your strikers made the correct run as well to be in early to put the ball in. It's all right getting the ball and putting it in. If there's nobody there, you're wasting a chance. You're maybe wasting a chance anyway by having to juggle yourself and take on a defender, work it back, and the chance is gone. The opposition's regrouped, but it's a positive that he's back from injury, mate. Whether the game impacted how early he came on tonight, I expected him maybe to get less minutes than he did. But I think obviously with Sunday in mind as well, probably a good opportunity. But also how much of the scoreline reflect really how much he needed to come on at that time. But I know
I don't know, mate. I don't know if you were just dealing in that game and not thinking about big picture. Yeah, you wouldn't have took Homer off, would you?
No, that's what I'm saying. I was surprised that McGoma went off, to be honest with you. I thought he did an okay game. I thought he was kind of doing all right without being brilliant defensively. And he tried to get forward where he could. He tried to take men on, but the way Gassama was going inside, he was getting doubled up on, trying to go forward. So it was difficult for him to try and get beyond the lines and create something. But I thought he done okay. But it wouldn't have been my choice of substitution at half time, if I'm being honest. If it was McGoma coming off, it wouldn't have been mine.
But see, when the game's done and the scoreline, you park just the scoreline, mate, and you maybe look at it and McGoma's come off and Suter's got minutes, mate. Ultimately, again, Danny Rowe got it right.
Aye, ultimately he did, mate. Got minutes in players' legs, rotated the squad where needed. You lose the first half, but you control the second half. Nobody's come away with an injury. you look at the result without watching it, you say 3-1 seems respectable. And to be honest with you, as much as Porto scored 3, they didn't really create a lot to score any more, if I'm being brutally honest. They took their chances when they came in the first half. And we didn't really create much either, so I don't think you can have two complaints about the scoreline overall.
No. No, you actually seen the first goal coming. The frustration will come through the own goal. And then the travesty, mate, of our own making, mate. Our own making. There's no need, as you say, maybe let them run offside. If you've checked in on them, you don't go towards your goal, your own goal, and your own goalkeeper with the box for that particular reason. Something like that can always happen. Just clear your lines. He did it for a corner. He was in complete control. It made the error. We'd gone too deep. Just header it out for a corner, regroup. Yeah, just that was a big moment, mate. Big moment. Gave them such a big lift, mate. When they was huffing and puffing, even after they got the first goal, because they hadn't, and then they just looked the rest of the first half. They just wanted a half-time whistle to go, and you went from being comfortable to being fearful in the second half, mate.
Aye, yeah. You maybe thought that was a game where we could have opened up, the heads could have went down, given obviously how the last 15 minutes had panned out, but they stuck at it, they huffed, they puffed without creating any real chances. Didn't really give any chances away either, so nobody won the second half, nobody scored, but in terms of how we moved the ball and how we adapted and changed the tactics and the formation, the personnel, there was slight improvements in the second half, but nothing major to turn the game around.
Right, let's go and get 8 W's now, mate. This is where it counts. Part that, doesn't matter. 8 W's now.
Aye, absolutely, mate. Absolutely. As I said it on a previous show last week, I think that once Europe is out the way, you can fully focus on that league. You can then recover and rest players as well. You're not having to play Thursday, Sunday. You might have a week between games now that you can really get players to rest, recover, have players coming back from injury.
Well,
there's less time.
Next 2 Wednesdays, there's league games, mate. Yeah?
Aye, but I know there's going to be midweek fixtures, but ideally then there's no other European travel trips and things like that as well to consider and factor in. But I'm not saying there's not going to be midweek games. There will be, of course, but it gives you an opportunity to kind of go week to week, almost more often than it has been.
Here's one of them. Scottish football plays about a 12th of the league camp playing in a week with the 3 ties, yeah? What happens if the bad weather came in at that point? There you go, just me. Evening, David.
How's it going, lads?
Hi, good to hear from you, bro. What's on your mind, mate?
Well, just before I start, condolences to the lad or lassie that sadly passed away last night. Tragic set of circumstances. We know more than anybody as a club that, nobody should go to a game of it, but it's happening all too often. But aye, my thoughts are with them the night, the family and everybody that knows them. Terrible, tragic set of circumstances. In regards to the game, I actually thought Rangers started pretty well. I mean, I wasn't overly impressed with Porto tonight. A couple of things that I was looking at. I mean, I think Big Fernandez came right onto a game. I know he's made that kind of mistake for the third. I'm looking at players. I watched Max Arns tonight. I'll just get negatives out the road. I thought every time the ball goes out to him, he's hiding. And the minute he gets the ball, he looks backwards. Now, he does that dive in the second half, which really gets on my goat, but he's done this a lot on us. He can do as if he's injured. He didn't get done as if he's injured there because he couldn't have. That would have been even worse. I don't like him. I just don't like him as a Rangers player. I don't think he's got the mentality. But anyway, he played tonight. I think Diamande is actually probably our best player now. I've been really impressed with him recently, middle part. I think I gave him it tight because I know there's a player in there. In regards to Rangers going forward, I heard you all saying, I totally agree with you, Moore comes on and he's got Ant-Man out on the right hand side and it's just that simple pass. The second, I wrote down a number, and Rangers the night had 489 passes and they completed 426, and Porto had 339 and completed 292. The Rangers have passed them to me, Rangers looked in control of the game. I'm just glad there was no injuries tonight. Obviously, we know Sunday's a big one. Chermiti, I thought, first half, I thought he was holding the ball well at times. Kind of ragdoll him about, and then there's nobody real run about him. Do you know what I mean? It was kind of, they're missing something there, and I hope that Scott Olsen's maybe going to be that man.
Listen, mate, I'm not going to disagree with a word of that, because I think he's cut and pasted what I said. Wait, come on, Robert.
Aye, evening, David.
How's it going, mate?
Echo your thoughts as well, mate, and your words there, kind words there, mate, well said. Aye, listen, Aarons isn't an attacking fullback the way Tavernier is. He is a back pass player. We've seen it, as I said to Ox. He got more forward on the left than he did on the right in the second half. He put in some balls, but never really threatening. Some good runs, but he's not that kind of player. I think a lot of people had not high hopes of him, but they kind of knew he'd been around the Premier League. He'd played for Norwich and Bournemouth, England under 21s, and they had something about him, but he's not showed it here. Early stages we couldn't see it, and he's never really improved or kicked on. So again, he's only a lone player. I don't imagine he's going to be here next season with us. Your points in Chermiti, I feel I agree with again as well, mate. Hold up play, he is doing well, but there is no support there, and it was a tough task being a lone striker. And it looked like a 5-4-1, and by the time that he got the ball under control, MD was anywhere near him. Porto were on their tails, they were man marking, they were tight against him. It's a real tough ask, trying to influence the game on your own, but I can't again disagree with anything you've said as well there, mate.
Well, decision making, and by the way, if you take away Gassman's goal, I know that helps you get past Mark, but performance after that, his decision making, what he was trying to do, and he took a dive in the second half as well, out in the left hand side, mate. I don't want my team to do that. I couldn't agree more, David. I would have took Aarons off there and then, mate. I don't like it, mate.
Look at the mentality.
But we're a special club, mate. And there's times. And by the way, the worst about it is, see, if you did con the referee, you're not getting the penalty because of VAR anyway. So how stupid is it, mate?
Mental, absolutely mental. He's by the guy, by the way. He's actually knocked to buy him. What's he going to do for? I know he's coming away for the box, but he's actually knocked it by the guy, so he's going to collect the ball. I don't get it.
I think you misunderstood, mate, because he was in the opposition penalty box and he was
looking to put the ball back to
Butland. No, he was looking to put the ball back to Butland.
Oh, aye, that's his famous one, isn't it?
Aye, I've not liked him since we've seen him, mate. I must admit, I just think he's been a bad signing. And the good thing is, he's not got a 5-year contract.
Well, this is the thing now. We're getting guys in on loan, seeing how good they are, and see if they're not good enough. Right, back down the road. That's it. I don't agree with this. People saying you shouldn't get loan signings in. Aye, you do. Get them in, see what they're all about. See if they're good enough, we'll sign them. See if they're not, punt them.
I know, stop him. I'm glad. Listen, it wasn't just his fault, and he wasn't particularly involved in any of the goals we lost. But however, he's playing going forward and he's crossing. He checks back. I understand you check back. You want to get it on your strong foot. That's all right if you put the business in. And then the night, the set peak goes with Tav and he takes it and he gets it all rang twice. When we've got opportunities, we're not making them count. We're not making chances. Yeah.
I agree with you 100%. It's just, I know it was a kind of, we're coming out of that today, 3-1, right? I wasn't wanting a down the night. That's all I didn't want was a down. I actually thought our second half performance was very controlled. I thought we looked a better side. Sounds mental to be 3-1. I thought we looked a better side. There's just something missing in between the midfield. And Raskin's sitting a bit too deep for me again, I know. I don't want to see this. I want to see Raskin further out of the park. Diamante's come right on it again. But obviously we'll get players in. I like the look of the big fella the weekend in the middle part. So I think good times ahead. But we just take it as what it is. It's been a poor campaign. But the one thing is, and I don't want to go on about that lot for our side of the city because it's a Rangers show and I can't stick them. But they're through the night, and I wasn't disappointed with that because their playoff game is they play the playoff game before they come to Ibrox, which is a huge thing for me. So Europe's kind of hindered us for a number of years. So let's see what it's like on the other side.
No, I never knew that. Man, I had to look that for a head, mate. Listen, as I said, when just a couple of minutes ago, now's the time to get the 8 W's, David. Yeah.
Say that again, sorry.
Now's the time to get the 8 W's. Yeah.
Who's that?
8 wins now in a row.
Oh, aye,
It becomes a different.
aye, God, aye, of course, aye, no question, aye. That's the most important thing. I see Ant-Man as well when he come on tonight. I don't want to see Ant-Man 6 yards to goals in the middle of the park though. I want to see him hugging the touchline. You know what I mean? I want to see. Our decision making is so poor at times, but hopefully, Scott Wilson guys, we should be. It wasn't a poor performance tonight. I'm not coming away from that game and going, what, really, we were on the ropes and it wasn't a bad, they're not a bad side by the way. As far as I was aware, they've only conceded, I think, 4 games at home or something this season. I think we heard on the telly.
4 goals.
So,
conceded that. Listen, what we don't know, David, is if they were playing with a handbrake on, yeah.
Well, that's the thing.
We did control most of the second half, but the big frustration, mate, is that when you've got all that ball with 30 yards to the goal and you're not making any chances, mate. The only chance we had for a shot in the box is the one by Miovski, and he lays it off.
Miovski's a first-time finisher for me. But he started this now, didn't it, last week or not? Laying one half, he didn't. But at least he's put it at the back of net. You know what I mean? Just it's this kind of we're kind of slow. See, it's no moving the ball quick enough for me at times. There's passes on. I thought Wee Curtis was actually good tonight. I was impressed with him. I don't think he'll be away, by the way. I've got a funny feeling he might stay after that tonight.
Robert?
I still expect him to go, David. I think he'll still go on loan to Kilmarnock. It's obviously been hanging in there for a few weeks since it was first mentioned. I said it to Ox in the pre-show. I think if he had more experience and game time in his legs, then it maybe be a different outcome. But I think he'll still go on loan just to get that game time. He does make things happen. You've seen that tonight with the goal. He can impact games. He's done it a couple of times, even in European games when he comes on as a sub. He's started to get crosses in, cause teams real problems without really taking a chance and getting a goal or an assist. But tonight he obviously gets the assist. He has got something in the locker. I just think he needs a consistent run of games, and unfortunately, I don't think he's going to get it this season. Whereas the 6 months or whatever months loan he gets down at Kilmarnock or whatever it may be, in the end, it should do him in good stead. But he's got the experience of playing in Europe with us as well, which will be good for the future for him. He is definitely somebody for the future, I think.
I agree with that, Robert. But you're right. If he's not going to get the minutes at Ibrox, and the manager doesn't see him playing, coming off the bench, say half time, 60 minutes, maybe starting some games, then he needs to go on loan. I agree with that. If the manager doesn't see him, there's a pecking order now. You get like Scott Wilson, guys like that now. Gassama. I mean, Gassama, I agree with Yorks as well with Fall Duty Games, but they were talking about that bid the other day. I've got to say, I wouldn't have taken that money from him because Gassama to me has got a high ceiling for me. I think there's a proper player in there. He's only a young boy, and for me, he's only going to get better. Now, wingers, as you know, God, you've watched Rangers longer than me, they are inconsistent, but his numbers this season aren't too bad. And I just think we're not crying out for the money. I just think it would have been a silly decision to take that. He's not going to get any, put it this way, his value is not going to drop between now and the end of the summer. And we've got a title to win.
I wouldn't have took it, mate. I think there's more to get, but I think he's got to do more, and I think he's got ability in certain areas of the park. He's got to be running with the ball, and then obviously he's got that. He cuts inside and he uses his right foot. Yeah, that's all right when it works, mate. There's more to a game of football than that, and then he also gets down too easy. But hopefully he'll learn for the experience.
100%. Listen, lads, I'm going to go. Thanks for having us on again. And we charge on to Sunday.
Yeah.
And if we can get this man out of the road, come out of this unscathed, I don't care if it's a last-minute penalty. It shouldn't have been a penalty. Rangers win 1-0 on Easter Road. Couldn't give a monkeys as long as we win, get the 3 points.
Sunday's just about winning, mate, and moving on and putting another fixture out the way that another traditional difficult away match, mate. That's all it is.
100%. That's what it's all about. Just ticking the games off as they come.
Yeah.
Right, lads.
David, catch you soon, mate. Good to hear from you as always.
Cheers, Robert. Cheers, all.
Cheers, David.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers.
I tell you what, that day was a tactical genius. That's the way I see him.
That is good call, good points there, mate. I liked it when he said about the passes. It's fine having the numbers in the game and things. It's where the passes are taking place that's obviously the most important thing. And it comes back to the final third. How often are we in that area to create chances and capitalise on moments and create something? That's the needle in the haystack that we need to try and figure out and improve on going forward. But as you say, it is now all focus on Sunday.
Aye. And look, because of what it was I don't mean it's a nothing match. There's people paid a fortune to go there. You know, and you've got a responsibility to your professional pride, your supporters, and the badge it's on your chest, you know. But ultimately, it's done. We park it and we move on, Robert. Yeah, that's the reality, yeah. And people will be annoyed because we lost 3-1. I'm annoyed because we lost 3-1. I'm annoyed with the goals we lost. I'm annoyed we never created chances in the final third. But I don't really care as long as we won on Sunday.
That's it. It's about the reaction now after a defeat. And if you're being honest, how many of us expected a win tonight? You go to Porto away, who are on a great run of form, as we touched on before as well. Hardly conceded a goal at home, as you said in the league form. 4 goals, I think conceded in 19 games, half of them at home. A difficult side to beat. But the bigger picture for us, obviously we wanted to win the night to keep momentum going. But the biggest picture we've got is the league. We're right in a title race. We kick on to Sunday and we get a reaction. We go back to winning ways again. And the league form has been good. We've been winning games. We've had clean sheets in the league. We need to go back to that starting on Sunday. And then, as you say, get that run of games and run of wins back on the board. But I've got to say as well, when you touched on the support there, I thought the support tonight that travelled out in the numbers, as always, before, during and even after the game, loud and proud as always. So well done to support for still being behind the team throughout the whole European campaign, lad.
And the whole team, mate, but obviously at the start of it, there was a disconnect, yeah. And Danny Rowe, I think, even in a 3-0 defeat, started connecting with the team, didn't he? Right at the start, with the fans right at the start, mate.
He did, and that was probably an important thing for him to do on a personal level because of how disconnected the fans were from the team and the management team that was in before him. He goes up to support before the game away to Bran and goes over to them after it, and he's got a song getting sung about him after 90 minutes and even before the game. He connected right away. Fans have bought into him, players have bought into him, and ultimately he's got his back into a position in the league where we're right behind him, we're right behind the team. We thought a stumbling block tonight. It's a blip in the road. Daniel probably said in his interview, it's a step back in European level, but it is all new about the league. That is the bread and butter. If somebody said to you in October, you won't qualify for the next round of Europa League, but you'll be in a title race, 4 points after leaders, you'd be taking it all day long there to think of where we were when he came in. So again, he's connected to a lot of people around the club.
Aye, it's done, mate. And fair play for that. And now he can part that and he can build and he can learn. Because let's also be honest, obviously he's been with some big clubs, but on his being the number one, he hasn't got much, none experience in Europe, yeah?
Yep. It's a learning point for him, his staff, and a lot of the players as well. A lot of young boys will take a lot of experience from this tonight. Fernandez, you know him, young boy, playing League One at Peterborough, now Europa League experience, seems to be building in every game he's playing. Other guys, Finlay Curtis, example, it's just there is experience. Even when winning, you've got the experience, but even in defeat, you learn from it. You take experience and you move on. And again, it just comes back to going ahead on Sunday, full focus and parking everything that's happened already.
And potentially with Suter coming back, the 2 new signings that have another week training under their belt, yeah, you'd like to think they'll be a bit fitter for Sunday if they're going to be involved. Romans is no far away, mate. You know, Sterling maybe added to the squad. I think it's also obvious, mate, if Sterling's going to have started the injury scene with Sterling isn't great, we are going to need another right back in the door, yeah? Because that'll become red hot. Maybe not this window, but in the summer, mate. So, as one door shuts, another one opens, and one door opens, another one shuts, mate, yeah?
Aye, that's the way it works. That's the way football works. People come, people go. As you say, in the summertime, it's probably going to be more addressed in this current window. I still think there's priorities further up the park than at the back at the minute. But what I'll be interested to see is when Sterling does come back, whether he goes to the right back position, because I think that's where he's probably going to be needed at this moment in time, mate. I know it's not his best position. I still think it's a defensive midfielder with his power and his pace and his strength in there. But I think right back at this moment in time, we've seen Aaron's, we know Tav's where Tav is. Wouldn't surprise me if we see Sterling, Suter, Fernandez, Magoma, Romans as a back four going forward.
Sterling, Sutton, Fernando, Romans, yeah?
Yep. When Romans is fit, aye.
Powerful.
Yep. And if Suter signs a contract, then they 4 players are your players. You've not got a lone player in that. You've got 4 players who could be a foundation to build on for next season and add quality to them.
Your Jim's joined us. Evening, Jim.
Evening, lads.
Even Jim.
Doing, mate?
We've had better for these guys,
We've also had worse ones this year.
we've had worse ones. But again, thinking alone a broken record here again. The decision making, again, but I'll tell you what, I thought the 3 goals they lost tonight were criminal. The 3 of them. The first one is a fluke. Bounces off a guy in the middle of the box and drops to somebody. But I'll tell you what, I know we're all pointing the finger at Tav, but what is Jack Butland doing at the second goal? What is he doing? Is he not getting any horns? Is there any horns? Because it's not a pass back in a million years.
The thing, mate, it's Tav's fault, then it becomes Butland's fault, yeah?
Aye, but by the way, I think Butland is culpable as Tav on that goal. And then the third one, Fernandez, for a boy his size, how he gets on that side, that guy gets on that side, on the goal side of him, there is, to me, is worrying. But again, the decision making in the final third's ridiculous. We keep on saying blah, blah, blah. It's happening every week, so it is Ox. Every week, the decision making in that team is a disgrace. And Miovski, I couldn't care less if that guy never played against the Rangers, because he's not good enough.
He's not set the hair on fire. I don't disagree with that, Jim. Robert, in you come, mate.
Hi, evening, Jim. Good to hear from you, mate.
Sorry, Robert, how you doing, pal?
Miovski hasn't set the hair on fire at all, as Ox says. And listen, I think if we never signed Chamiti for the value we did, then Miovski would be getting a lot more criticism. I think he's kind of went under the radar, if I'm being honest, because of the pressure and the amount of money we paid on Chamiti. I think that took the heat off Miovski. He did obviously start the kind of campaign as a striker, and then out of illness, Chamiti took his chances when he got it. And Miovski's not really responded to say, here's a challenge. He's not really doing a gauntlet. I know he got a hat-trick against Annan. He scores at Rugby Park, but he's not really done anything else other than that. And you can see the difference in what he offers you as a striker than Chamiti. And again, I said it earlier on in the show, it's a tough ask for any striker to play as a lone striker. But when Chamiti was holding the ball up, he wasn't getting the support. Miovski wasn't doing that when he came on. You could see the clear difference. I don't think Miovski had a lot of touches. I think he actually had more touches passing it back at the edge of the box than he did the game he came on, the rest of the game. But I agree, mate, that the decision making is what's killing us at times. And thankfully, at this moment in time, it's not came to bite us back in the backside fully yet. But if we don't really buck up in the final third, we could get picked away, because if we don't create, we don't score, then you get nervous, things start to set in. But hopefully, going forward, Europe out the way, a couple more additions, hopefully by Monday, problems can start to be solved. Not finalised, but start to be solved.
I think it's a big worry, this decision making. I really do. I think it's a big, big worry for us. You know, get highly talented guys in that team, i.e. Moore, blah, blah, blah. Again, as you said with Moore, that's a simple pass across. And it's not the first time in recent weeks he's done that. To me, he's got the greedy head on too much. And there's too many of them doing it. Miowski, why lay the ball back? Put your boot through, you're a striker. You played football, he tries to play football. Put your boot through the ball, man, and put it in the back of the net, man. I'm just frustrated tonight more than anything else because they're a class team, but they didn't need to do anything class tonight to beat us.
No, I think we can't judge them tonight, mate, because they got back into the game just before they scored the first goal. They had a wee bit of momentum. So that was about 25 minutes, mate, and up to then they'd done nothing. And then they get the goals cheaply. I totally agree with you, cheaply. Actually, the first goal was the pick of the bunch, and that's not the best defending, is it? And we get a bit of bad luck, if we're honest, right? But in the second half, and that, I think that's the point you're making, Jim, we're getting to positions with the edge of the box, we're holding on to it too long, we're not making the pass, or we're not putting the cross in, or we're passing it back. We're getting so much wrong because, and I think with Moore, I'm going to be really honest with Moore, I think what's happened, mate, is I think he's trying too hard, if that makes sense, and that's the experience.
Yep.
He's trying to impress every time, whereas the simple ball to Ant-Man, if Ant-Man then doesn't put it across, Moore's done his job. If Ant-Man puts it in and somebody puts it in the goal, Moore's part of a goal, yeah. But when he gets the ball took off him, we're then defending because the decision making's wrong, Robert.
That's the fine margins and the fine detail that you always watch and you always reflect back on. And if it does become an error, at least a chance for the opponent or a goal, you obviously look at it and say, just a simple ball here and a simple ball there. And I agree, at times we don't make the right decision. We take a wee touch, we drive forward, even though the pass is still on. We play it too late, we allow teams to reset and reposition. Sometimes just quick, simple passing can open an opponent right up. They're facing their own goal, you're charging through, and it is this wee fine margins, because as you say, one simple pass can just create something or nothing, but you're not going to know until you actually play that ball. Trying too hard, I get what I mean as well about Mikey Moore. He does sometimes try and take on a man or two before a simple pass, but he's that type of player that, to a degree and extent, you give him the freedom, he can do something, but when the pass is on, you still expect him to play a simple pass.
He's young and he's going to develop, but he's not a problem in a few weeks' time. So, yeah, hopefully he can help us in the running. But after that, well, you shake hands and you move on. And we'll always like him because he's a likeable character. Last word, Jim?
Just frustrated. That's my word is frustration tonight again. And it's too many times this season.
Your sex life's got nothing to do with this show, mate. Carry on.
Okay. I'm just frustrated because, to me, again, self-inflicted.
Aye, listen, mate, when you look at the second and third goal, you can't argue with that. Robert?
No, I'm still saying the third goal from Fernandes is a bit unfortunate, a bit unlucky. I'm going to give him a bit of benefit of doubt. I get what you're saying about positional sense.
You're too kind.
No, I know, but I get what you're saying about positional on the wrong side and things like that. A guy of his stature, but once he hits its head, it could go anywhere at that point. So I think it's unfortunate that it's ended up in the back of the net. There's issues prior to it going in the net, of course there is, but when you look at the goal itself, there's issues, but once it hits his head, it could go anywhere. It's just unfortunate. But the one for me is really the second one, if I'm being honest with you. I know Jim's point about Butland, but it could have been solved before Butland even comes into the equation.
Butland to the nightmare tonight, mate. Butland to the nightmare.
There was a wobbly moment in the second half, with Giga.
Aye.
Wasn't it? There was a few players that weren't their greatest of games. I thought Raskin wasn't great. I know he wasn't great on Saturday, wasn't great in the night. Butland was ropey the night. It was hard to pick a player who was really the best player, for being honest. Curtis gets an assist, Gassama gets a goal. Other than that, not a lot. So a strange, difficult game, but as we say, Docs and Jim, European campaign's done for another season. Let's focus on the league, and there's still something there to play for, so let's go and do it.
That's it. Onwards and upwards, hopefully.
Cheers. Listen, thanks to David for joining us, our Jim, Robert for doing the show, Fox and Old School Blue for doing the technicals. Rangers Radio will be back tomorrow night between 8 and 10, talking about all things Rangers as we march on to the league title. And remember, tomorrow is time for Southside Super 6. Thanks for listening. Take it away, Old School Blue.